Hello, and thanks for tuning in. You're listening to WSDH Live on 91.5 Sandwich's community radio station. My name is Jay McGrail, and I'm the chair of the Sandwich School Committee. Today in the studio, we have town sports coach legend, John Zimmerangus. He's the president of Sandwich Little League and Sandwich Youth Basketball. Welcome, John.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I brought you into the studio today because one of the things we focused on is some of the great things that we're doing here in Sandwich and trying to focus on what we're doing well. And athletics, I think, in Sandwich is something we are doing well. You have a senior right now?
I have two seniors, two twin boys.
Two seniors right now,
yep.
and two twin boys leaving the house next year. That's
Thank goodness.
gonna be tough on you and your wife.
It'll be fun to go from 100 to 0 in the house quickly. But
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, so I wanted to bring you on the show to talk about some of the stuff that you've experienced in the last number of years here, because your kids have gone right through the system from when they were young, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, so did they start with youth sports all the way up till now, or?
They did. Chris played baseball all the way through. George stopped around 9 or 10 years old, and then both played basketball up through 8th grade. And then coming to the high school, Chris played basketball, baseball, soccer at the high school, and George runs track. So they've been involved in a lot of the athletic activities.
So it's easy to say you're on some athletic field somewhere in this
Absolutely.
this town or somewhere in this state all the time.
Absolutely.
So what are your experiences with the youth programs? I mean, I guess we can get up into the high school and talk about how that's gone well, but when it starts when these kids are my children's age and they're in these youth sports, we have pretty broad-based programs in Sandwich. Can you tell me a little bit about each one that you're involved in?
No, absolutely. I've been president of Sandwich Little League for 6 years, 3 years off and on, twice. Started about 11 or 12 years ago on the board. Program was up at around 800 kids. It's probably down closer to 450 to 500. A lot of that has to do with travel soccer that we have. Lacrosse has become big. So there's kids doing something. It's not as if the kids aren't doing anything, they just left sports in general. It's just that parents can't commit to 2 or 3 sports, which used to happen. So that's been one of the things that's gone on. And then youth basketball is still strong at 500 or 600, starting at 1st and 2nd grade. So it goes all the way from 1st and 2nd grade all the way to 8th grade. And we do also have an out-of-town travel league that we participate in with travel teams. So there's that opportunity. Same thing in baseball. During the summer we have All-Stars. So there's a lot for the kids to do in this town.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I mean, so I'm involved in Sandwich Youth Lacrosse. This is my first year coaching, and I'm coaching a 5th grade girls team. And we've seen the opposite side of what you're talking about with baseball. We've seen a huge boom in the numbers. I mean, this year we took a girls team that was a 5th and 6th grade joint squad the last 2 years, and we had to split it up. And so I have a group of only 5th grade girls, and we have 15 5th grade girls playing lacrosse, which is unbelievable.
No, it is, and that's good to hear. I mean, like you said, there are very good opportunities in town. We need to do a better job sometimes getting the word out on these things so people aren't searching for them. But if folks want their kids involved in some kind of activity, and they stem from the rec level, which is just kind of, I want to play to all the way to competitive if you want. And that's the other nice thing is all the sports, I think, have that type of activity that you can go from just playing rec if you want, like one of my sons, George, did, all the way to playing competitive basketball up till you're 17 years old, like Chris did.
Yeah.
Playing AAU too,
So that's outside of the school, really competitive, really good program that Sandwich offers. I mean, so you go around to all these different towns. I mean, Sandwich seems to be pretty competitive in all of these different sports.
Yeah, if you look at it, the baseball, we also host 6 tournaments during the season, 8 through 12 years old.
Yeah.
We've had teams coming down here for 15 to 20 years that make a weekend out of it or a week out of it and make it their vacation. We have some of the best facilities, so that's a credit to the people of Sandwich as well. Is that people are involved, people help, sponsorships, always help. Same thing in basketball. We run a tournament once a year. We have 70 to 80 teams come from different places for the weekend. And it's a Thursday through Sunday. So you can do all kinds of things in town if you really want.
So your kids started out doing these youth sports, all with basketball and Little League, and then they transitioned up into the high school. How was that experience? I mean, one of the things that I focused on is student retention, and how one of the things that we do well in this building in the high school here that we really need to translate to the 8th graders that are thinking about what to do next year. How was your kids' experience?
Right, both George and Chris got to the high school before STEM, so they came in as 9th graders. They left Forest Hill as 8th graders, came here as 9th graders. We spoke to them about whether they wanted to come to the high school or not, both without question. Because I said to them, you can go anywhere you want. We'll look at other things if you want. Neither one wanted to go anywhere but Sandwich High. I had a travel team Chris's year that won the Cape League championship. It was a pretty good team of 10 young men. Only 3 of them came to Sandwich High. So at that time, we lost people to Pope John Paul and the Sturgises and so on, which were a little bit newer, and so I get that. But both my guys have excelled up here. They've had an opportunity to have any type of academic class they want, anywhere from AP to regular. They've been able to participate in sports, clubs. George has been the class president for 4 years. So there are plenty of things to do. I mean, no one can ever tell me that the high school isn't a place where you can fit in some way or another. I've got one son who is pretty athletic, that's what he really likes to do. The other one, more involved in the governmental stuff. He does run track too. But there isn't a time when you couldn't participate in something. And they got hooked on the get involved, BKP, all that stuff, and it was terrific. And one of the things I'm really happy about, and I know I mentioned to you, is I had an 8th grade team this year that I finished up with, a travel team that clearly I don't have a kid on, but was a terrific bunch of kids. Had a terrific run for 3 years. 9 out of 10 of them are coming to the high school.
That's awesome.
Now, I think STEM has something to do with it because they got the experience of being here. But they also had choices. There was a few of them that I think were thinking about it. But they want to come here. They want to be involved. George and Chris did help me coach them. So they were around the kids. So they saw the kids here during the day. That might have something to do with it too. So that's why I think youth sports and involvement with the high school and at that level, even if it's having guys help out, which we try to do. We try to get some of the high schoolers to come down and help. Coach Tomasini runs a couple of clinics for Little League for us. We try to get some of the high school basketball players to help with clinics and other things. Mm-hmm. Those type of things are what are going to keep kids here. I really want to stress that there are plenty of opportunities if people are listening to send your kid here to do whatever they really want and whatever they like to do.
Yeah, no, I think that's one of the things that's been great about this show is highlighting those things. I mean, last week, the difference between what we're talking about right now with the youth sports and how it transitioned into the high school, we had the Paranormal Club in here last week, and they were talking about their different experiences with their club. I mean, there really is something for everybody at Sandwich High School. So do you think that the program, not just the athletic program, but also the academic program, got your kids ready to go to college next year?
Absolutely. I mean, they both got into some very good schools, so they had a lot of choices. I think a lot of it was around the types of classes they could take here, the curriculum they had. They were really able to find their own way and what they really liked, didn't like, and challenging. I do have to admit, some of the time, they'd be at home and I'd ask them what's going on, and you almost don't want to talk to them because they got to get something done or something is due. But the rigor has changed, I think. And again, these are my only 2, but we have a lot of friends who had kids before our guys, and I think things have changed. I really do, and I think people need to take a look at it. Don't assume you know or what you hear, because we've gone through it for the last 4 years, and it's been nothing but a terrific experience.
Well, John, I think that your example is exactly what we need to get out there. The experience that your kids had, 2 different children going through different paths through the high school, all the way from the junior programs and the elementary schools here up to graduating. I get to give them their diploma in a couple weeks from now. It's a pretty good story, and it's exactly what we need to sell.
No, absolutely. You also have to sit down and listen to George give the president's speech too. So
okay.
lucky for you. But no,
as long as it's a beautiful day.
Oh yeah, let's hope. Let's not comment. But no, you're right, and I just think what you're doing here, some of the things that you've talked about, because I've seen some of these podcasts and shows. I think we could use some other people to come in here and kind of talk about their experiences and so on. I just think it is an opportunity missed if you don't take a look at it. I really do. And again, maybe we've been lucky, but I don't think that's the case. I really don't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the rigor is improving a lot. I mean, I think you're right. There was a time a number of years ago maybe where it needed to be adjusted, but I think we've made some of those adjustments. The school is in a really strong place. We have a great superintendent. We have a new high school principal coming in. We're going to miss Dr. Boris for sure, but that'll bring new energy and more excitement to the whole district.
No, and that's what has to happen. I think people were worried about the whole 7th and 8th grade STEM. Yeah. I know I can go back. My wife graduated from Sandwich High. Really? 7th and 8th was here at the high school, so it goes back that far. So things change and then they come back. But if they're done for the right reasons, then that's terrific, and it only benefits the kids. Yeah. It really does. And one of the other things being involved with all the youth sports, we always have to remember whether it's the youth sports or being up here at the high school, it's still about the kids.
Right.
It's not about us, it's about the kids.
No, at the school committee level, one of the things I try to focus on, and I know some of the other members of the board too, is are we making the right decision for the kids? And that's really all that matters.
Right.
If we are, you can stand behind anything we do. And you're right, the STEM addition up here has been great. I mean, with some of the groups that I've had in here, some of the different robotics clubs, and like I said, the
That's amazing.
paranormal club last week, and the civic action team before that, those kids aren't going anywhere. They love this building. They have Blue Knight pride. And it's
And like I said, the opportunities are here. I mean, who would have thought that we'd have a robotics club? We'd
Yeah.
be able to teach them.
underwater robotics.
You know, it's exciting. It really is.
It is. All right, well, John, thank you so much. Keep it up. I mean, the stuff you've done for this town is amazing. So
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it.
you're owed a true thank you. So
Thank you.
thanks a lot. And, so this is 91.5 WSDH Live. Jay McGrail signing off. Thank you very much, John.
You're welcome.
WSDH Live is recorded at WSDH Studios in Sandwich, Massachusetts. We are executive produced by Paula Johnson with podcast production by Ryan Hill. He also made the music. Remember to check out WSDH on TuneIn.com and the TuneIn app for more great content. As always, thank you for supporting Sandwich Community Radio. We'll catch you next time.